Good evening, everyone. Public safety meeting back to order at 7:41 PM. Today's Tuesday, October 8th. Chief, we were at the police statistics. Please continue.
Okay, we discussed the decline in the burglaries for the first 3 quarters of the year compared to last, as well as the car burglaries and making timely arrest. In that, I go back to saying that from our last arrest over in our historically hot area, which is Northeast Tudor, on 4-5-85 to 9-0, we made an arrest on the 14th, and since that day on the 14th to now, we haven't had any other car break-in. So at this point, but we're going to have to, we can't rest on our laurels. We have some things planned in the future, and to keep that entire area all the way up to Dr. O's office and some of the issues they're having over there, keep that pristine and free from any of the issues that have been going on, as well as also not neglecting anything on the west side and continuing on with our details over there too. It's just a juggling act, but we're glad when we're dealing with property crimes as opposed to robbery. Property crimes, if you can catch 1 or 2 people, you can drop the uptick in crime, and I think at least for this past month since the last arrest, we've done that. So we're going to look to continue to carry on with that.
Any questions from the committee to the chief or to the manager on this, on the police stats?
I do have one more stat, if I may. You'll see there, in May, I started implementing park and walks. Now, I saw last year's stats on bike patrol. There were no stats. And I'm thinking, well, let's do something, whether they're on 2 wheels or on 2 feet, they can get out and catch things. And that's basically how Tynes was able to get into position on foot. But you go back from May, June, July, count up the months through September, we have a total of 5,200, over 5,200 minutes. You divide that by 6, you'll see how many hours it is, and if you divide that by the 6 officers, 7 officers, it's quite a bit of park and walk. I mean, is it excessive that they're going to lose a lot of weight walking that? No. But it's enough, especially at night, to get out of the car and walk around and come up on people or let people see that you're out there, I think goes a long way. So the park and walks have been working, and that's one strategy we're going to continue with.
Vice Mayor Nickerson, do you have a question?
Yeah, I had a question. A question real quick. Well, first of all, I just want to say again, thank you to Officer Owens for what he did, and thank you, Chief, for running down the sunset in Miami
Well, to be fair, he kind of got away, but then he jumped the fence, and the county was waiting for him. I wasn't blessed with speed.
That's also probably that part of that all that boxing, training over those years, man. But Madam Mayor, I was just wondering. And this is just a question. It might be a crazy question, kind of, or whatever. But I just know, like, working with Dade County Public Schools, that there's a lot of schools that when they do have a parking problem, that sometimes they will just do things like they'll open up the gate to their backfield, and Horace Mann doesn't really use, as far as I know, doesn't really use their backfield for like football or soccer or anything. So would it be a problem if Horace Mann would open up that back gate? So then therefore, I mean, there's so much room back there that the El Portal residents from that point on would not have to worry about people parking in their yard. I mean, that field is not being used for anything. So.
That's been brought up because it makes a great deal of sense, and we'll see where it goes from there. But it has been brought up, but you make a great point, and thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and you guys, the Chief and the Manager.
As far as the stats, that's basically it in a nutshell. I do see something here that I just wanted to touch upon. I know we're coming down to evaluations, if I may. I started something this past week, self-evaluations, where I'm having the officers do their self-evaluations. I want to read it. I want to see where they feel their deficiencies are, where they think there's room for improvement, and I will go based on that. I'm fairly certain they'll be very forthright and honest about it, and they have been. But I want to see where it is, and then when the time comes that we're going to do our evaluations, that would create a good time for discussion, one-on-one discussion, and see where we can get the best out of the officers, which I think we're getting. But I want to see where they're coming from, and I think self-evaluations are a good thing. I mean, you can't base it on anything per se, but from all the things I've read, it seems to be, I know the military uses it as well, it seems to be a good instrument and it opens up a lot of dialogue with subordinates and their chain of command, and it's just a good route to go. So I'm pretty enthused. I'm waiting on one or two more, but that's something we're going to be doing, and we are doing, and I just want to add that to the comments.
When did you start the self-evaluations? I'm just trying to make a note here. A couple months ago?
No, 10 days ago.
Oh, 10 days ago, okay.
Passed them out, and I've gotten, this is for the full-timers. Doing it with the full-timers for now.
Okay, so we're at Miami Police Stats, monthly police stats. Okay, we're going to go, are you done with the police stats? I think we've covered it all, right?
I believe so, yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. Let's go right into, we'll put together a community policing, the Senior Watch Program, and Horseman. Let's put them all together because we've had meetings about the senior community, Horseman, and community policing, which really all ties in together. So if you want to touch base for the committee a little bit about each one of those. And you can actually go right into Do the Right Thing.
Okay, well, the Horace Mann, we've been working with Horace Mann, where the officers do go over there. We've been all working together to deal with the parking, but beyond that, we're there just to be very supportive of their initiatives, and certainly speaking for the police, I want the officers there. I want to be there to be seen for the students, and as I commented today, for the parents, to know that the police, I know they have Dade County School Police there, that's all great, but we're there as well, and just so they can rest easy. I think that's important. Do the Right Things, the program that's started in the city of Miami. I utilized it well in North Carolina, and that was what that gala was for, the Do the Right Thing program. And what we did tell the principal, and they were on board with this, is that with all the teachers and students they have, that perhaps they need to nominate one or two kids worthy of it. Just don't go through the numbers. Somebody that's done something solid, put them through there so Horace Mann can shine. Let them get nominated somewhere along the way, and I'll do my best to lobby as I can. But somewhere along the way, they get chosen. They go down to the awards ceremony at the City of Miami Auditorium, and then it can lead to end of the year awards for greater prizes and things. But it's just great for the kids' ego. So yeah, I can't push it. I can only suggest that the teachers, they start doing the nominations, and by doing the nominations, just by the numbers alone, we're bound to get a couple students from Horace Mann to win, and that would be a really great thing for the school, for the children, for the staff there. So that's the route we're going. With the seniors, we have the list. We have the list updated. Around the hurricane of Dorian, we started checking and just making sure everything was up to speed. When we did our initial check, there was a handful that, don't bother me. Well, okay, but when something happens like a Dorian, we're going to make sure everything's good and keep track of people. And sadly, I get word from the officers. Sometimes we have to update it a little because someone may have passed or something. But we have that list, that active list, and any other programs we want to move forward, we know how to divvy it up and get everybody else on board. We know where they are and who they are. So.
May I add something to that, Mayor? I know that the chief may have forgotten to add this, that each full-time officer is tasked with checking in on certain seniors, and they have divvied this list between them so that it's a regular check, and it's the same officer, and they can, have that relationship. So I think that's really a great aspect that you are, lending to our senior community. So thank you and your full-time officers for doing that.
Anything else on that?
Not on that, ma'am.
A couple things I want to let the committee know. We've been working, as you all know, or if you don't, we're going to let you know, with Horace Mann Middle School. We tried setting a meeting before the year started, and with one thing after another, we didn't. But we were successful in having a meeting with them about last week, and we followed up with an email on Monday. There are some activities that we have agreed to do with them. A couple of them are as follows, and I think it's important for the committee to know if we all want to do it together, and I'm going to bring it up at the council meeting as well. The first thing that we're going to do is there's going to be a Hispanic Heritage Breakfast that the police officers that I've put together, and it's going to be October 15th. October 15th, it's going to start probably at 7 a.m. in terms of preparation, and the actual breakfast is going to be at 8:30. I'm working in a conjunction with the resident, and I'm working in a conjunction with a local business so that it is at no cost to the village. And one of the reasons that we are doing the Hispanic Heritage Breakfast for the children that come to breakfast is because one of the things we wanted to incorporate is to have also a Women's History Month breakfast and a Black History Month breakfast, but we wanted to be able to incorporate all cultures. So it's a little short in the game in terms of notice, but we all just came up with it and we agreed. And I said if I could sort of put the components together that I would make it happen if the chief gets me some police officers in the morning. So I'm going to have more of the logistics by tomorrow. I'm doing a walkthrough tomorrow with the resident that has a catering company, and I'll let you all know exactly what time on Thursday. But the breakfast is going to be like, I would say 8 to 9. So if you can't help, it's going to be that hour, and that's October 15th, and that's Tuesday. That's the most immediate coming up. It's going to be at Horseman. At the Horseman Cafeteria. And again, I'll have more of the specifics. I'm working it with Shante Sweet. So when I have more of the specifics, I'll be sure to give it to the manager and the clerk and then disseminate it to the council. And if you're available to join us, but be prepared, we are cooking. We're going to have waffle makers. We're going to have scrambled eggs and things like that. And we're going to have a touch of Hispanic food because it's Hispanic History Month. Okay, so that's December 15th. The next thing that we, excuse me? Did I say September? Okay, October 15th, Tuesday, October 15th, and is the first thing that we have coming up. The other thing that we agreed to work on together is Florida Government Week. I think I sent you all an email. I put a flyer together. I'm going to pass it out right here. I sent the flyer out, and if you've noticed, I in the years that I've been here, I've collected a wealth of emails. So I do a lot of email blasts to the residents. If I put you all in copy, just don't answer. If you want to answer to the administration, not to me. But I like to put you guys on copy, and I've asked Norman it's okay if it's just a flyer. Just don't answer back to me. If you have a question, call the administration or the attorney, and obviously don't call me or call or email me. But we are going to have the Florida League of Mayors does an 8th grade essay contest. So I'm just going to mimic the same thing. It's going to be an 8th grade essay contest at Horseman is If I Were Mayor. The winner will get $100, and all of the 8th grade participants are going to get a backpack because I have a lot of backpacks that I purchased that are left over from the backpack giveaway. So every person, the top 50 to turn in a completed essay are going to get a backpack. The distribution of the backpacks is going to be October 24th. I don't have a time yet, but that is the date that I told them that I'm available for that week, because that week my availability is a little limited, but that's the day that I'm available. So as soon as they give me a time was when we'll go disseminate the backpacks. The winner of the essay, the ideal and what we're hoping for is to recognize him or her, the student, at the council meeting that Tuesday night in October. The other thing that the mayor, manager, and the chief are doing with Horsemen is in Florida Government Week, we're going in to speak to the classes. They have not sent us the schedule yet, but we have agreed that we're going to go in and conduct a class in civics, our civics and government. I've also reached out to Phyllis Ruth Miller Elementary School. They haven't gone back to me, but Horsemen, we're definitely set to do it, and it's going to be that week. I have lesson plans that have been pretty much done by Florida League of Cities, which I'm going to pass on if you all want to use. If you don't, you don't have to, but some are catered to, policy, some are catered to safety and all of that. So just so you know that's what we're collaborating. And all of this is, again, part of the collaboration we want to do with the school. The next thing that we are doing with the school is, and please, if I missed something, refresh my memory. So that's October, and that pretty much is going to wrap up October. There's also Principal of the Day. Principal of the Day is October 30th. I know we talked about this, and I forgot if I sent it to you guys. Do you all get Principal today, the email? Does the council get it? You don't get it? I've already registered, and it's October 30th. So I've picked Horace Mann. I'm hoping that's the school I'm going to get, but I never know. If you don't have it, I will forward you the email to the clerk, and you all can just register. But there's a deadline you have to register by, and you can pick a school, maybe Phyllis Ruth Miller or something like that. But I'll make sure that I'll get that email to one of you if you guys have not gotten it, because by the looks of it, I don't think any of you have gotten the email from the Miami-Dade County Public Schools. The next thing is we're going to move right into November. In November is the turkey drive. I don't have the date yet, but I can say that my goal is to hopefully have the turkey drive at Horace Mann. The two locations that I've asked Miami-Dade League of Cities to consider is either Horace Mann Field or the Sanctuary parking lot. I'm going to do a walkthrough with the executive director so they can, and most likely with the chief of police and the manager, to check the egress and ingress of both locations to see what they recommend. And just so you all know, the Miami-Dade League of Cities gives out 1,000 turkeys throughout the whole Miami-Dade County, and they usually do it in 4 locations. I'm going to obviously, and we normally get the tickets, so basically we're still going to get the tickets, but our constituents can actually go here. They don't have to go anywhere else. That's the whole objective of it. So there'll be no need to pick it up. There'll be no need to do anything. And if you all want to work it that day, I will be sure as soon as I get the information that I will give it to the clerk so she can give it to you. I don't have it, but I'm pretty sure it'll be Friday the 22nd. Pretty sure it'll be Friday, November 22nd. It's generally the Friday before Thanksgiving. Yes. So I'm pretty sure it's going to be November 22nd. And I'm going to aim for 2 o'clock. We can't do any later than that because Horace Mann gets out at 4 o'clock. That's the next thing coming up. There is a fence issue that the manager spoke about at the meeting. The principal wants to do a collaboration where the children themselves will go out and actually fix it, but as the manager pointed out, there are clearly, guidelines to doing something like that. So I believe what we're going to do in moving forward, and it's something that we talked about and the principal brought up, is we're going to pick a senior home, and we're going to have some of the children that they select along some with our police officers and any of us who want to join, and that is going to be on National Giving Day, is December 3rd. On December 3rd, by then, we'll have a home picked out, and on that day, we're going to paint the senior's home or cut the grass, whatever is determined is needed for the home. That's the last thing that I think I have that we picked out for this year, and then we'll talk a little bit more that we're going to do in conjunction. But give me 1 second. I want to make sure that I didn't miss anything. If you have any questions, you can ask me while I'm looking for my email to the okay, here we go. So that's October. Okay, so during Government Week, we'll speak at any classes between 6th and 8th grade. Horace Mann is going to have a breast cancer little awareness walk. They have it every year. I've asked them to please let us know what that date is so that if anybody wants to walk with the students, we can that day. Also in November, I think maybe Vice Mayor Nickerson and Councilperson Roman and maybe Councilperson Mathis joined us at a pancreatic cancer walk that I hosted last year. I'm going to host it again this year. So I had the flyer created and I had put it out there, and we mentioned it to the principal. But now I was reached out by a former Vice Mayor, Mamie Gardens, because she hosted a Colors of Cancer walk, and she asked me if I would do it here, and so I said yes. So I've already mentioned it to the police and to the manager, and the flyer is here, and I also have that for you all to have, and I'll be putting out the information. But as those of you that joined us last year, again, it was a no cost to the village. The only cost is we need police officers, and basically it's a community event that we come out, we have water, we have some donuts, and we have breakfast bars. We meet at 8 o'clock in front of Horace Mann, and we do 4 laps around the school, which actually 3 laps, because that's 2.3 miles. We promoted 2-mile community walk, and we're going to be doing it in a conjunction with Horace Mann Middle School students as well. That pretty much takes us through the end of the year, and then the last thing I asked them was to please give us the information on their Horsemen Student Government Association. I think it's something that we should be more involved with regards to, if students have run for, I applaud Yanice's daughter ran for treasury of her school for student government. I think that's great. So I think when children run for student government, they're interested in public service. So I really think locally elected, we really should take more of an active role and work with them at their meetings, and I think they're working on a trip to go to DC and things like that. So these are some of the things that we're putting together that you all will know, but as you all know, we go to these meetings and all of us can't go, but I want to make sure you're just getting the information. This is my opportunity to let you know this is sort of what we're doing in the background, and as soon as I have the information, I'm putting you all on copy of the emails. Just please don't answer back. Just reply back to the manager, to the clerk, as necessary. But you'll be seeing more of all of these. You'll be seeing more of this, and if you want to be a part of it, just let the manager know, and and all you got to do is hop on, because we always need lots of hands. So that's what I wanted to wrap up, and there's going to be more. I mean, we sat there with their sort of their entertainment staff member with the chief and with the principal and the manager and I, and we all came up with so many ideas. So I said, hey, I'll write it all out for everybody, but we can't do everything. Let's pick and choose some so we can be most successful at it. And he seemed to be really excited. And as the chief said, we literally hopped over there and spoke for 2 minutes because we made a commitment that we're going to always show face. And the chief's not going to send an officer, and the manager's not going to send a staffer, and I'm not going to say, oh yeah, anybody else is going to go. We're actually going to be present as much as we can. We've also said that we were going to pick one day a month, most likely a Wednesday or something, where we are actually walking the dismissal. So we're walking up and down the dismissal, so we're visible to the children, because I think it's also a really important component is having conversation with the kids, having conversation with the police officers, having conversation with the staffers, and having conversation with the parents. And if residents see it out there, they know that we all really are trying to work together to try to, move the process along and mitigate sort of the hazards and the potential hazards and all that stuff. So that's some of the exciting things that we are definitely working together, that I hope you all are equally excited, because I think it's going to be absolutely great things that we're going to implement there and hopefully make a part of what we do. I want to move right into also that's tied in together is the ESAC. Is Sergeant Sharp still appointed to that? Does he still attend ESAC meetings at Horseman?
I'd have to check. I'm not sure. Right now, he's at the first line supervision course, the 2-week course.
Okay, that's right, that's right. Okay. Just double check if it's something that you may want to pass on to. The ESAC stands for the Educational School Excellence Advisory Committee, and usually a member of the council sits on there. A member of this committee sits on there, and a police officer sits on there. So, and then they usually will send an email blast of and generally the meetings are Wednesday at 5.
Okay.
One Wednesday a month. Okay, very, very good. So, just to the committee, if there's a particular senior home that you already know of that you want it to be considered and it's not on the list, then definitely let, obviously, the manager know, so we can take a look. But we're going to go off the senior list that we already have, that we gave to the chief. Okay, decoy speed tracker, that's been on there forever, so we're going to put that, it's going to be, we've purchased a new one, and it's going to go to the October council meeting. The COPS grant, we did not make it this year. Okay, police officer evaluation, I'm all for self-evaluations. I was a big thing on that for years. I'm married to military, so that's what they do. I would say, and I love the way how they have it. They have like top, middle, whatever. I think in terms of grading, I think it's fantastic. Very good. Police schedule, I know you covered. You want to touch on a little bit on Ring?
Well, the thing
I know we had some cameras that we were giving out.
The thing with Ring is, they did give us before I got here, some cameras, and we give them out to seniors as needed if they have the laptops or something, if they're a victim of a crime or something to that effect. But when I see Ring here, what I think is even better is that they came here and they did a testimonial about a month ago with Officer Battaglia and myself, and they did that because we're in the running of the best police agency in the country that utilizes Ring. Small departments, mid-size, and large departments. So in the small category, I think there's another department somewhere in Florida I don't know which way it's going to go, but they're going to announce it at a get-together in the House of Blues in Chicago, which I'll be there because of the IACP conference that I'll be attending at the end of the month, and they'll announce it then as to if we won. But how great would that be if El Portel gets national recognition for utilizing it? And I'll say all the officers utilize it. Battaglia has been very he's been paramount in getting the information and being a go-between, but all the officers know, check the ring, let's see what they got, do they have this, and we work off it. Sometimes nothing's there, but sometimes, like on a burglary to a curtilage to Mr. Kirk back in the early summer, we were able to catch the guy. And to his credit, he went through the whole process. The officer was there, and he commended the officer for being there every step of the way and explaining the court process. So that worked out really well. I'm sure they didn't throw the book at this guy, which is fine, but nobody has a right to walk into somebody's property and just steal something because they need to steal something. And so the ring works. And we utilize it, and I think the department's been recognized for that. So we're excited about that. And we continue to work it, and I know their higher-ups, they're very happy with the police department and how we utilize it. So.
Any questions for the chief on the ring? Police schedule you covered, Jerry McGrath. I also put on there October's National Crime Prevention Month. I put that on there in the event in the future we wanted to consider doing an event. The other thing is National Night Out. We've traditionally always have celebrated the first Tuesday in August. But at FYI, you can also celebrate it on the first Tuesday of October. And it might be something that we would like to potentially consider doing. The weather is nicer. And it's just National Crime Prevention Month. So that's why I just put that on there. It's also the first Tuesday in October. Forfeiture funds you covered. We asked you to just let us know what the usage is so that we have a better idea. We can educate ourselves a little bit on that. And then you're going to find out how we can hopefully, maybe the department can get more involved with the county or at other cases to potentially, increase that. I know officer training you already covered. I don't know if you wanted to add, you or the manager, anything else on officer training. I think we have Officer Burrell and Sergeant Sharp in training right now.
Burrell, no, not Burrell.
Never.
Sharp is in training for the first line supervision course, and we've had some investigative courses. We've had Riveron go to them as they come up. The county alerts me to them. The city, if it's something that can fit, if it's something that's needed, we'll jump on it. For instance, if we have something that comes up with pawn shop.
Yeah.
We're going to jump on that. The interview and interrogations while Riveron was in school at that time, we had that robbery off from the shores that the offender followed her home. He was able to sit in, and whatever he was learning, as great as it was, he also got firsthand knowledge sitting in with robbery detectives from the shores, so that worked out well. And so as it's applicable, we're going to get them as much training. I'm really big on training. I want to see these guys get trained and and just be able to enhance themselves and their careers. And so we'll continue on.
Absolutely. I think everybody on here agrees that training is fundamental and is a key. And whenever there is one that you want to let us know or shine out, have Officer Battaglia put it on social media or send us a picture so that we can also recognize them when we see them out there in the road as well. Next, Ms. Manager, we have Disaster Emergency Preparedness Plan. Did you want to give us an update?
Yes, the update is that we have a disaster emergency preparedness plan, our internal document that we utilize in times of disaster. We were able to utilize this during the preparation for Hurricane Dorian. I think it worked well. We did, I reviewed it with our disaster consultant, DP&O. She did want to make some additions to it, but I haven't gotten her finalized version just yet, but I'll bring it to committee once we have that finalized with DP&O. But to date, our plan is actually approved by, she approves of it, she just thinks there's more we can add to it, but we would have to review that step by step with her. But we're well on the way, and the plan is has been utilized, and I think it worked well with Dorian in that our chief was instrumental in keeping us apprised of every step of the storm tracking, and that we had our emergency supplies prepared, and our staff was all aware of their roles and what they needed to do from IT all the way to just having generators ready and having ice delivered waters delivered and those things. So we have a good plan. We just want to beef it up.
With that said, we're going to go right into Citizen Crime Watch. It's also, I think, a resource that we've added as far as ensuring that our block captains, again, it goes back to student government, those who sign up to volunteer, like block captains, like student government, are those individuals that really want to make a difference or be a part of the difference in the process, as opposed to just maybe complaining. So with that said, we've incorporated them to be able to disseminate information out to our residents if there's ever a moment of need or a crisis or something fluid that needs attention immediately. So if you want to bring us up to speed with Crime Watch, is there any new blocks that have been awarded a signage?
There hasn't been, no, not yet. But the point you made with the block captains, that did go a long way during Dorian, pumping out information to the block captains and to Officer Battaglia, and got some positive response back. Thanks for keeping us, in the loop, and that was good. Thank you. So that did work well. It was up to them now, depending on how far the storm was going to come or how detrimental everything was going to turn out if they were going to notify their people. But it's just far easier for us to get a hold of them and then in turn get a hold of the people on their block. I'm not sure if they did that or not, but they did take the information. There was a good banter back and forth with us, questions asked, so I trust it went well. And moving forward, hopefully we don't have to do anything more this hurricane season, but if something comes up, we'll keep them in the loop, and that's all we can ask for, is that they do the same.
Before I end with the Operation Cleanup, I just thought of something. So to the committee, as you've noticed, I updated the tracking report. I sent to the clerk a worksheet, and it has as a spreadsheet, and it has 3 worksheets on the bottom. It has the old tracking report that we have used for years, and then it has this one, and then it has some of my notes on the third workbook on the bottom. If there's something, I'm gonna have the clerk send it to you guys. If there's something that I didn't put back over here that I left out on the original, just let me know if you think it's something that needs to be added, because I sent it to the manager and I sent it to the chief, and I said, take a look at the old one. This is the updated version from all of the notes that I took back in July. So if you see something, so when you get to, just touch the workbooks on the bottom, and it'll show you the old one, and then send it to the clerk, say, hey, we forgot this, and we'll add it on. Or if there's anything here that you think we need to maybe put together or combine in one line, that's fine too. This is a breathing, working document to keep us in track with all the things that we need to do in public safety. Operation Village-Wide Cleanup, we generally do during Earth Month, so it'll come up during the month of April, but we also, again, talked about that as part of a camaraderie to do more with horsemen. But I thought that the projects that we came out for the last quarter was enough for right now, so we didn't come up with anything else. Anything else from the council from the committee to the chief, the manager, or myself?
Yeah, Madam Mayor, I just want to say one thing real quick. She's like, real quick. I just want to say one thing. First of all, I want to say for those of you who don't know, I want to thank the mayor, because we recently went to the best practices for Miami-Dade League of Cities, and which our mayor is the president of the League of Cities. And when we were there at 8 o'clock in the morning, I was in your where you sat on the panel in your breakout session, and in the breakout session, you kept emphasizing, as you've been doing recently, about training and how important training is and things like that. And so when you were talking about training just a few minutes ago, it made me think about that again. And then I was over here pulling out, because I think the clerk put in our mailbox, there's like a training coming up and this may not, be for all of us right now because it's about clean campaigning, and it's Wednesday, November the 20th, Wednesday, November the 20th, from 6:30 to 8:30. So, but what I wanted to ask, this is an open question for anybody, and this may be just something that any of us can look up or find out. Because the mayor has been emphasizing training, and training is always something that's necessary for all of us to do to continue our education, being public servants, public officials. Is there like a particular website or something that shows like all the trainings in Miami-Dade that are available? You see, like something like that we can go to and be like, oh, okay, I'm free on that day, I can go to that one. I'm free on this day. Like that would be something really good. You know what I mean?
So I think you bring up a very valid point, and it'll lead me on to the next, where I was not going to mention it, but I will. So Miami-Dade League of Cities offers a lot of training. The best practice is one of them. And the whole day may not work. One session may not work. Two may work. But the whole point is that it's offered. And the whole point is the village does pay for it. When the emails come through, you're going to have to do some homework. That 8 o'clock meeting where you all were at, the manager was there, the chief was there, Vice Mayor Nickerson was there. I'm elected for 11 years, and wow, that I learned things on that 8 o'clock morning, and it was for newly electeds. And I was like, wow, so I say that state training is paramount, and from each other. Unfortunately, I can't pick up the phone and call you guys all the time, but training is paramount, and you learn from your colleagues, you learn from the people that you socialize not only inside the session, but while you're in the counter outside in between sessions, at luncheon, you meet people and you learn and you learn and you learn. The Miami-Dade League of Cities does a lot of training, so when the clerk sends out those emails, you must read it. And you must do a little homework yourself. I've also noticed that the Florida League does a lot of training, a lot, and I've been, when I remember, I'm not so great at it all the time, but I've asked the manager and the clerk if they were getting it, and so I started sending them you all some of the stuff because I realized maybe they're not getting it. So, a lot of it is, you have to self-teach in terms of look to see what's really out there, but learning what's out there is actually getting out there. That's, half the effort is showing up and really being a part of the process, because then you're going to meet, Councilperson Roman from Sunny Isles, and she's going to let you know there's something going on that you had no idea about, and you're like, oh, well, that's great. Well, then you exchange information, and then the next thing you know, you're there. I mean, I know Councilperson Roman does that a lot. I believe you do that a lot. I know, I know that sometimes the jobs isn't LILE, but Councilperson Mathis and I did that a lot for years. It is so resourceful, and I can't say it enough to the newly electeds. You're only as good as the knowledge that you have and how you're able to connect the dots and put it all out there. And how you really do that is by conversation. Now, hey, you're going to meet somebody and you're not going to agree with all that they say, but that's how you learn about the next thing, about the next thing, about the next thing. And I think Councilperson Roman brought that up. I don't remember at what meeting when she went to the Florida League annual, and she found the value in it. But it's just making the time and really just Googling and seeing what's out there and picking up the phone and calling the clerk and asking her, do you know of anything coming up? So a valid point, excellent point, and I couldn't agree with you more. Training is essential to each and every single one of us, no matter what position we have. Anything else from the committee? Hearing none? No. With that said, anybody in good and welfare would like to come up and say anything? Uh-oh. Really?
Harold Mathis, 420 Northeast 9th Street. Also, the Attorney General's office, their website has training, so you can go up there and do it. They have a lot of webinars, too.
There's a lot of webinars. Excellent, thank you.
And you get credit for it.
Excellent, thank you. Yep. Anybody else in good and welfare? Okay, hearing none. Chief Magnuson, thank you. Christia Liu, thank you. To the committee, thank you. May I have a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn, Madam Mayor.
Motion's been made by Vice Mayor Nickerson. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Councilperson Roman. All in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? All right, hearing none. The Public Safety Committee ends at 8:19 p.m.